taking a huge risk here, but my phone is now sitting atop a flag mount, maybe 7 feet off the ground, 6.5 feet off the ground. So if this thing falls, well, I've got a case for the phone and hopefully that'll do it. But it's just so much better than me holding the phone as I talk. It's really bad for the camera. It just looks terrible. And see my shaky hand, and it's gotta be annoying. So I'm basically standing about a foot away from the phone, hopefully picking up good audio here. I can't tell if the mic is covered or not. We're gonna find out. I just discovered this place. I've been coming here often with my son, but we didn't ever really go into the forest too far. And look what I found. This little grassy meadow, which has actually been set up for what looks to be live events for about 100 people. I don't know if you can see it well from the way the camera's angled up, but I'm sitting on a stage, a small stage for like a 4-piece band, not even maybe like an actual speaker or a stand-up comedian or something like that. But we're out here in the woods. I mean, I am surrounded by robins, chipmunks, squirrels, just lovely. I mean, we live in suburbia, like cookie cutter neighborhoods, so it's really nice to be able to get out here 10 minutes away. My son has a great time because it's rocks, it's forest, it's things he can throw and pick up and discover, and he's having a wonderful time. We'll probably be here for about another hour or 45 minutes before we gotta head back because I gotta clock in for work. Metaphorically, I'm always working, I'm always on the clock, but you know what I mean. So just a short update. I haven't done much with this channel, as you know. If you follow my other channel, you know it's an everyday thing. We go over finances, financial news. Today we had some pretty big news in terms of the way the reset has begun and that the financial situation for the United States doesn't look good one way or the other. They're going to ease up inflation restrictions. In another word, they're going to print more money than they ever have to try to prop the market up and to keep things afloat. And whether you believe in inflation or deflation as the end game, as the bad results, it looks like it could go either way. You know what? They're going to keep printing money and the value of your dollar is just going to go down, or no matter what they do, the debt's going to accumulate and there's nothing they're going to be able to do to stop massive deflation. But that's not the point of this video or this channel. But that's just what's been on my mind this morning. I actually did want to share a little advice for the fathers out there, especially if you have boys, but any kids really. Something I recommend you do, and I just did this. I'm a little early on this because my son isn't old enough to understand the concept yet. But what I did is I bought him this. What is this? This is a toddler or baby chess set. And the reason I say that is because it's large and the kids cannot swallow the pieces. As you know, if you're a dad, you know, up to age 3, kids like to put everything they can in their mouths, and they can choke. So we're not gonna actually have a real chess set, a normal size chess set for a while, but I'm getting my kid used to the actual set. I mean, he loves the pieces. He just takes them and throws them everywhere, and he like piles them up and plays with them. He has no idea what it is just yet, but in a year, he'll understand how to set the board up. And when he can understand how to set the board up, I should be able to actually teach him how to start playing the game. And the reason for this is because kings of old, the old ancient kings, the old rulers of this earth, knew that chess was a game of strategy and tactics, and that you always had to think 1 to 2 to 5 to 10 moves ahead, which is exactly what you do in a time of war or in a time of a political situation or when you're in charge. You've got to be 10 moves ahead of your opponents. Kings would actually have their sons, their princes, learn this game as young people too, you know, simultaneously while they're being trained in sword fighting by the best of the best, while they're being trained in the martial arts and combat, horse riding, archery, all that stuff. They're also playing this game. So if you have kids, I highly recommend you get them on chess, and get them on chess before you put them in front of a screen. Please do not get them addicted to video games if you can. This is the fatal mistake that my parents made, and I'm direly hoping to avoid with my kids. I have another son coming in February, so next year I'll have 2 sons. I can see the temptations. You know, you get your kid a Nintendo system, and there it is. You never have to do anything. For hours on end, you can have parts of your life back while your kid just is mindlessly babysat by a Nintendo and causes no trouble other than destroying their minds. That was the temptation my parents fell into, and I'm doing my best to avoid that. I never let my kid watch screens, and I'm gonna do my best to never be in front of a screen as long as my sons are awake, as long as I can. I mean, at some point, obviously, they'll be 6, 7, 8 years old, playing at a friend's house who has all the latest gaming and Fortnite and all that. They're gonna want it. I don't wanna be that dad that like says absolutely not. We'll see how it goes. But for now, I wanna make sure my kid is a master or like a champion of chess before anything else, because I remember my parents tried to do this too. My dad tried to get me into chess when I was 7 years old, and it was boring. Why? Because it wasn't knocking out those dopamine receptors in my brain the way Sonic the Hedgehog and Mario were doing at the time. I had Sega Genesis and I had Nintendo. Why would I care about a stupid board game when I can push buttons and do little jumps onto enemies and like rush at sonic speed to collect rings and emeralds and all that ridiculousness that goes nowhere and does nothing for you? So that's what this video is really about. I want y'all to be aware that you should be training your kids young on strategies and tactics to make them leaders in whatever field they choose to be in, so that they can always be 1 to 5 to 10 steps ahead on anyone else. But yeah, I think this will be another common backdrop you'll see on some of my videos. We actually haven't been outside in like at least a week, and I'll tell you why. The fires from the neighboring communist state to the west of us have been so bad, pouring into our atmosphere, that the air quality has been in the red, like really bad for sensitive groups, which include little children. So we had to keep the little boy inside for like 7 days straight, barely getting outside at all, which was annoying, man. Like, you know, we've been in this pandemic for months and months, and I never really got stir crazy until recently, when outside wasn't like forbidden for my son. You know, that was when I started to get a little bit like, oof, gotta do something now. But I looked at the air quality this morning and it's pretty much all clear. So hopefully it doesn't come back. That communist state to the west of us really needs to get its act together, but you know it never will. And it'd be nice if we could build a wall around it and, you know, lay siege to it, and then eventually take it back and like reduce it to a non-voting territory, kind of like Puerto Rico. That'd be awesome, but a man can dream. Anyway, folks, I didn't forget about you. I didn't forget about this channel. My routine has been much more on the other channel. You know, I get up at 4:35 every morning. I get my coffee on. I stimulate my mind for 30 to 40 minutes, and then I'm good to go on a YouTube video about financial news. And we are Christians, and we are called to not love money, but to love God only. And unfortunately, we do live in this world where my child's education options are basic. For me personally, we can't homeschool. We don't have that option unless one of us can retire, which means gaining some knowledge of finances to hopefully make some money, to be able to retire, to be able to homeschool our kids, or at least put them in a private school that isn't going to brainwash them into globalist communists. That is the biggest passion of mine. I don't want my kid, who is a white male, who my other son will be too, to be brainwashed. Of course, that is what's going to happen. They're going to attempt to reduce my son to someone who feels bad about his culture, his gender, his sex. I hate the term gender. I like the term sex. He's a male. They're going to try to make him feel bad about that. And I got to do everything I can to fight that. And if that means making some money in the next few years to prevent that by letting him go into a private school, or away from that altogether by homeschooling them myself, that would be awesome. And it would be a dream come true if I could open up my own private school in my house with 5 other boys or 5 other kids, and just tell the parents, hey, we do the same curriculum we had in the 80s and 90s. We'll teach them about MLK, but we are not going to teach them about new critical theory BS about how white people are evil, and no matter what a white person does, it's racist. We're not doing that. I don't want that for my kids, and so that's why I'm trying to figure out a way to gain some financial knowledge and to be ahead of things, because I do see a major crash coming one way or the other. And it doesn't look good for the United States, and that's fine, because the United States needs to separate. The empire united must divide. It's time for us to break apart into our ideological and genetic groups and become united people in that way. Obviously, we have way too many different nations within America fighting for power, and it's not going to work out much longer. So I see a big crash coming in that regard, geopolitically and economically, and I just want to get ahead of it, which is why I tell people precious metals are a good way to go. Crypto might be a good way to go if the infrastructure remains. But the US dollar, nah, I don't think so. And I think a lot of countries can't wait for the day that it can drop that as their #1 holding. But anyway, I'm kind of ranting, but I'm really energized. I feel really good being outside. To my friend on Social Galactic, you know who you are. You were asking about dopamine fasting and water fasting. You said you had some burnout. I told you what I recommend, but I know in your country there are lands that look more pretty than what you're seeing on this video right now. Grab a tent, grab some wood, grab, if there's refillable water where you're going, just 1 gallon or 4 liters of water or whatever the metric system is, put some salt in it. You can drink salt. It's not the same as ocean water, which is toxic. That's brine. You can drink salt and water, put a little bit in just to keep your electrolytes up, and yeah, man, you can go 3-4 days in the woods with nothing but water and salt. Bring a knife for survival, chop wood, or an axe. Bring a way to start a fire. A lighter's fine. Bring some books, not on Kindle. Don't bring your phone. Bring some actual books, or even better yet, as you're fasting, your dopamine fasting, your water fasting, bring a pad of paper and a pen. You're gonna get a whole bunch of new ideas on where you might want to go, what you might want to do, what you might want to start, projects, businesses. Jot those ideas down, because those memories can be fleeting and they may come and go quickly. It's kind of like shower thoughts. When you go on a dopamine fast, you go on a physical fast, water only, you're gonna have a lot of good shower thoughts. I'm kind of jealous. This is what I've been telling my partner that I've been wanting to do. I wanted to do it for my birthday and I wasn't able to. We didn't have childcare. I couldn't just leave her with my kid. So do it for me and do it for you. Anyway, I'm gonna end the rant there, folks. You can find me talking on my other channel every day, but we'll try to get better updates out here. I hope to talk to you all again really soon. Have a good one.